Cancer is the third leading cause of death in the Philippines. The Philippine Institute for Development reports 25,000 cases of cancer every year. Data also shows the rate of premature death is too high due to late diagnosis. Citing that cancer is no longer a death sentence, experts tell the public to heed the early symptoms of cancer and explore available options. This National Cancer Prevention Month, we look into early detection and some of the medical advancements in the field that you might not have heard of. Joining us via Zoom for that and more, Dr. Imelda Edodollon, Medical Director of Holistic International Comprehensive Care. Magandang umaga po. It's a beautiful day, Dr. Imelda. How are you?
Good morning, Paolo. Good morning, everybody, and to those who are watching us right now. Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Doc, of course, we're starting off first since we are trying to I really advocate for early cancer detection. Ano siguro yung mga steps to do that? And of course, how can you encourage people to get themselves checked regularly?
Okay, so early detection is a must for us right now. Okay, most especially with patients who have relatives who doesn't have cancer just yet. So first is you have to have yourselves checked. It's called preventive diagnostics.
Mhm.
So initially, we have to have a consultation with the doctor, and then a series of tests will ensue: blood tests, imaging, like ultrasound, X-rays, if needed, and then another consultation for the results will come.
Doc Imelda, when a medical facility says that they do personalized tests designed with their genetic profile in mind, what does that test entail?
So basically, that test checks for the patient's genes and also the relatives,
Mhm.
because we have a lot of relatives who have not been diagnosed just yet, but carry the genes. One of the genes is called P53. Another is the BRCA gene that will predispose you to breast cancers.
Mm. Well, Doc, of course, we're talking a lot about the genes and how can people identify that if they have those? We mentioned the tests a while ago. Normally, sometimes some people don't even realize that they have those genes. Are there any early symptoms or signs that people should watch out for?
Well, basically, the symptoms of gene mutation are not that clinically well diagnosed. No, we have certain tests that can help specify what specific gene that you have this mutation with. One of the tests is called the oncotrace. Another are certain blood tests that are available in the hospitals.
Mhm.
So, Doc,
Also,
I'm really curious. How do you apply integrative medicine to your cancer patients? Because I know that's something a little bit different.
yeah, so basically, integrative medicine is slowly being accessible, and patients are well aware with the integration that can happen. So, integrative medicine is a smart fusion of conventional medicine with alternative therapies. So, we help the patient's immune system to really increase, so the patient's immune system can fight the cancer cells.
What are some of the alternative treatments that you guys offer? And I know there's specifically one called the ozone. Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, so basically, ozone therapy is a medical therapy that helps in patients' immune system. So we infuse the patient's blood with ozone. It's a medical grade type of ozone. So basically, ozone is O3 and oxygen is O2. If we infuse the ozone inside the patient's blood, we get to boost the patient's immunity, and we help the patient's body to fight cancer and to not have cancer as type of prevention.
So, Doc Imelda, it uses literal ozone gas, for this treatment. How safe is this, though? And what are the risks?
So we ozone therapy is not for everybody. Okay, so
Mhm.
we help as doctors. We help the patient uh, to be to filter everybody that will not give you the candidacy for ozone therapy. So we check for the CBC or the hemoglobin of the patient, and high grade or high dose ozone therapy is needed. We check for what we call the G6PD. So ozone therapy, there are a lot of therapies that is under the umbrella of ozone. So one is called the major autohemotherapy. So basically, it's blood-based ozone therapy, wherein we get 200 cc of blood from the patient, infuse it with ozone, and bring back the blood to the patient. So ozone therapy helps the body's immunity to be increased, and it also is a great preventive and also curative for viral diseases, fungal diseases, and also bacterial problems.
Doc, you mentioned it's not for everyone. Are there any dangers? Is there any criticism when it comes to ozone therapy? Because I do understand, I think it's still classified as alternative medicine.
Yes, it is still is classified under alternative medicine. So we check for the patient's hemoglobin. If the patient's hemoglobin is below 9, the patient is not a good candidate for blood ozone therapy. So if the patient's G6PD test results came back negative, or if the patient is G6PD deficient, that entails that the patient is unable to tolerate high doses of ozone therapy, like the 10-pass ozone therapy and also the EBU therapy.
Sorry, Doc, is this for cancer stages? Is there for any specific cancer stages when it comes to recommending this particular treatment?
Okay, so ozone therapy po is not a standalone. It's not a standalone therapy for cancer. So ozone therapy is a supportive therapy for patients who have cancer and for patients who do not have any cancer diagnosis. Yes, opo, opo. So ozone therapy, once the patient is a good candidate, for example, if the patient's hemoglobin is more than 9, and if the patient is G6PD efficient, so that specific patient is a good candidate for ozone therapy.
Doc Imelda, I wanted to ask you about stem cell therapy because I remember my dad died of cancer, and when he was being treated at MD Anderson in the US, this was one of the options that were given to him. So what does stem cell therapy do?
Okay, so that's a wonderful question. Ano? Stem cell therapy is one of the top tier therapies that we have today. So stem cell therapy is part of what we call cellular medicine. Okay? Stem cell therapy involves live stem cells that we infuse to the patient. Okay? So it can contain that specific vial, or the IV therapy that is being infused might contain as little as 10 million stem cells, or it can even be to as high as 200 million stem cells. So basically, stem cell therapy is made from umbilical cord stem cells. So we infuse it direct to the patient via IV intravenous infusions, or it can be via intraarticular, intramuscular injections. So these stem cells will be the ones to create new stem cells. These stem cells will be the ones to create new cells for the patient that will help the patient recover faster and optimize the body's immunity as well.
Doc, are there other latest advancements in cancer treatment in the country here in the Philippines that you can talk more about this morning?
Yes, okay. So we are very fortunate that we are living in this specific decade in the Philippines, okay? Because through globalization, the Philippines are able to open its doors to more comprehensive diagnostic tests and to more globally linked blood tests. So one of the tests that we have is what we call the uh, Onconomics Plus test and Oncotraces test that is being advocated by RGCC. So RGCC is one of the main proponent of cancer tests globally. So they have specific testing wherein if you do not have cancer yet, they call it the OncoTrace. So there are certain traces of genetic that can lead to cancer. So we also have what we call the Onconomics Plus, wherein if the patient has cancer, it has the ability to map out that specific what alternative therapies what alternative therapies is the patient most susceptible or sensitive with.
Mhm.
It can also map out what specific immunotherapies, what
Mhm.
specific chemotherapies that will mostly be suited to the patient.
Doc, do you have to wait for symptoms before you go to the hospital and have a test done? Or if you already know that cancer runs in the family, you can just go and undergo these tests that you mentioned?
Well, I believe in prevention is better than cure, right?
Mm.
So if you're able to prevent or if you're able to catch a specific disease as early, even when the symptoms occur, that will be most beneficial to the patient. Because, for example, a couple of decades ago, we are unable to diagnose stage zero cancers. Do you
Mm.
know that there is what we call the stage zero
Stage zero.
cancer? So with early diagnostics, we get to prevent that specific tumor to reach to stage one even.
Mm.
So a couple of decades back, we get to check patients na, uy, stage 4 na agad.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
With the current avenues that we have right now, we have the ability to detect even stage 0.
Of course, when we talk about stage zero and we talk about all the work that you do, you mentioned a while ago, you do blend traditional and advanced medical practice to really optimize yung mga outcomes for all of the patients that you have. How is that balanced out? How is that mixed? Because we're talking about so many great advancements, so many early methods to actually detect cancer cells. How do you balance both the traditional and the advanced practices?
Okay. With the hospitals right now, we have what we call optimum immunity
Mm.
and optimum body. So we get to check the immune parameters that we have. Okay, so for example, with our current lifestyle right now, we leave for work early in the morning and we arrive at home at night. So so basically, we have a decrease in the exposure from the sun. Hence, the vitamin D can be decreased. So
Mm.
it's one of the things that we get to check for the patient. We get to check for the patient's vitamin D because vitamin D alone is a great parameter for cancer prevention and in fighting the cancer battle.
Mhm.
So I would suggest for everybody listening right now and to you as well as hosts, please have your vitamin D checked.
Mm. Or magbilad
Okay.
na kayo sa araw.
I need to. But, Doc, I want to revisit what Anne said earlier about how if you know you have cancer running in your family and you mentioned that prevention is better than when you already have it, if for our viewers and for us, if you know it's running in your family, how often do we have to go see our doctor to get checked or to do the alternative medicine that you suggest?
Okay, first is checking at least once a year.
Mm.
If you have had exposures or even risks or family history of colon cancer,
Mm.
please have colonoscopy every like 5 years, depending on the age. So if you have had exposures or genetic risks for example,
Breast
breast
cancer.
cancer, yeah, breast
Yeah.
cancers, please have your ultrasound done at least once a year.
Mhm.
Okay, and then do the blood parameters and check for your immune panel. And of course, it's not the checking, right? It's not
Mm.
just a checking. You have to really take care of your body. You have to be more mindful of what you eat.
Mm.
You have to be more mindful in the little things that you do in life. So be mindful. Even stress is really entirely related with cancer prevention. So please have a great stress management protocol.
preaching to the choir, Doc. Kasi manage your stress. Natamaan ako. But Doc, all of that aside, when we take a look at Cancer Awareness Month, as someone who's been in the field for around 15 years already, can you tell us a bit about first how you felt the field here in the Philippines has advanced since when you started, and of course where you think it's going right now? How hopeful are you para sa cancer care dito sa Pilipinas?
Okay, with the current modernization and also globalization that we are experiencing right now, and with the rise of AI, right? So
Yeah.
parang everything, every part, even if it's from Sweden, if it's from Switzerland, it can be just a couple of clicks away. So we have to really utilize those specific technological advances that we have in the Philippines. So if when I started my practice 10 years ago, there are less tests that are available in the Philippines because a lot of the tests come from abroad. For example, the test that I have mentioned earlier to you is called the Onconomics Plus. There are just two laboratories in the world. One is in Switzerland, and another one is in I think it's in Germany. So there are just two testing centers in the world. But even if it's now moving forward, even if the laboratories are outside of the Philippines, we get the laboratory test to have access in the Philippines. Get the blood in the Philippines and send it out, and then the results will be out in just 2 to 3 weeks time. So it's very good. So another are some tests called the DNA course, the circle DNA test, because it checks for the patient's DNA, right? It has a lot of enzymes that will give data to the doctors. Oy, ito yung kakainin mo. There are certain genes that you are more susceptible, that brings you more susceptibility to diabetes, and even gives you a great glimpse if you are lactose intolerant. So it really knocks out big time. We have this huge genetic mapping of the gut. It's called the gene microbiome, or the gene or the gut 360. So there are a lot of tests right now that is just a couple of clicks away. All you have to do is find the right doctor who can give you access to these blood tests, and then you get to have your prevention right away.
Doc, first of all, thank you very much for all of the insight. For those who want to know more, and of course who want to reach out for you or maybe schedule a checkup as well, how can they reach out to you?
You can always reach out to us via Facebook. We also have YouTube. Our clinic is called Holistic International Comprehensive Care. You can text me in my number. It's 0917-622-4565. Or you can check us out in our Facebook pages. It's Holistic International Comprehensive Care. We have branches in Quezon City, Alabang, and Pampanga.
Doc, I want to give you my blood just so you can check it out. Pero maraming salamat po. Thank you so much. Dr. Imelda Edodollon, the Medical Director of Holistic International Comprehensive Care.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.